Okay, so I have not only my paint cards here to show you, but also just a little scrap piece of paper to work from. I was using this to test blends of colors here for another rose painting that I have. But this is something that I want you to try with your paints, and that way you can get the different consistencies of watercolor that I reference, other people will reference. So I'm going to actually start with the thickest, which I use most often with a detail brush. And this is going to be your thickest, most creamy. And again, I use that mostly for the details with my fine detail brush. So let's mix it up here. I'm going to use this red. Okay. This is going to be a very thick, wet on dry application. So my brush is wet, my paper is dry. The paint is going to be fairly thick. Now, as I'm mixing this is going to look, I can see from that mixture, I can barely see through that mixture, right? It is not watery. It is fairly thick. It's fairly creamy. I can also go straight on the paint like that. That, again, a very creamy texture. So if I do paint like this, it's going to be a very saturated pigment. It is not going to be generally transparent. And this is where I'm going to get my detail. My final layer in any painting is going to be with the detail brushes, with the very saturated, thick, creamy mixture. Okay. Now along the middle, I'm going to use a bigger brush because generally that's when I use it, is going to be more of a opaque, milky texture. That's going to be what I have here in the middle. I probably work in this consistency most often. You can see on in my little well, that's pretty thick, right? It moves around, it's watery, but it is opaque. So I'm going to use this with a larger brush as I'm painting on various layers and getting a good saturation of color. Okay. That's going to be let's do cream, milk. Water is going to be my next one. A watery wash. It's going to be a wash technically. So again, on a wash, I'm going to use a larger brush. It can be a mop brush, it can be a round brush. My brush is going to be fairly wet. And you can tell as I'm mixing that, you can see it's definitely more translucent. You can see through it quite a bit more. Okay, now this is going to be, as I do, let's say I want to fill in an entire petal. That's going to be in your light, watery mix. You can go even lighter as well. And that's one thing I want you to play with. As you're testing these three out, test with a very watery mix. Wet on wet, very watery, very thin. Get the blooming going, test that out. See what you like. Because you are going to need to know what technique to use when, and the more familiar you are with those washes and the brushes that you have, the more you'll be able to use the right one to get the look that you are looking for. Now, this really watery wash mix is a really great place to do this, to blend different colors. So let's say I want to use yellow. I've got a beautiful lemon yellow. Let's say I want to drop that in here. And I'm going to use this watery mix to blend it. And I got a little green in that from a painting I was just working on. Favorite thing about this is let that go. And I want you to try mixes. When you try mixes for different paintings, it's a lot of fun. So when it's wet like this in this nice wash, I can take whatever purple. This is a darker purple. Here we go. Mix that in. Oh, that's dried already. Okay. So try out these different layers. I have a cream, buttery, creamy milk. You are not going to see through that. This is very watery, and this is a wash.